Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was a Legendary Uchiha x Namikaze. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 3 and over on Anime King. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, it was shown that Naruto never had a good relationship with his father, as Mikoto was trying to fix that. As Naruto never really spoke to his father that much because Minato was having a difficult time being the Hokage, and Naruto was kind of stubborn as well, as he didn't believe that his father should choose the village over him. So what does that make him? Someone that would choose the village over him anytime. As Naruto didn't like that one bit, as Minato was trying to build a relationship with his son, but Naruto said that he doesn't really need him anymore, seeing that he has now grown. As Minato got the time free now as things were not as bad as before, and now he had more time to spend with Itachi, and that made him feel sad for his younger son, because Naruto never got to experience that father time with him, and he didn't like that one bit. As Naruto went to talk to his mother, as she found out that he was a sensei, she spoke to him as she mentioned making give his father a chance. As Naruto agreed, as she showed him how to use his chakra, even the Anbus felt it, as his chakra was stronger than hers. Even though she had more chakra than him right now, his chakra, it was just more potent and thick. Minato decided to train Naruto, as Naruto could observe things rather quickly, as he was able to put 2 and 2 together and realize what was going on that shocked Minato, as Naruto begged him never to send Itachi out there on the battlefield. As Minato agreed with Naruto, as Naruto would go on any suicide mission, do anything, as long as he did not send Itachi out there. As Minato accepted, as he told Naruto that things will be difficult from now on, because he will train him to get as strong as possible, as Naruto agreed. Meanwhile, Jiraiya was called to the Toad Mountain, as the great elder sage had a prophecy for him, a new one, as he never liked when this happened because things always became a bit too troublesome. The Raikage was meeting with the Kishikage, as they were planning with Orochimaru and also Konan. Members of the Akatsuki were there, as they were gonna cripple Konoha. Yes, the Akatsuki was joining with the 2 nations, as Konan thought to herself, Pain was right, these just wanted chaos and destruction, but he would be the one to bring peace to this world. So Minato continued Naruto training as he taught Naruto how to balance the leaf, as Naruto did in the first try because he was able to sense the amount of chakra his father used and how he stabilized it. As Minato then showed him the tree walking exercise, not believe that Naruto would get it down so quickly, but Naruto did in the first try. His son was a genius, a prodigy. As Minato never took notice of that before, but his son was a genius, yes, prodigy included. As Itachi and Mikoto then came, as Itachi slammed right into Naruto like he always did, knocking Naruto down to the ground. As Naruto warned him before, as Naruto actually said a little curse word as Mikoto heard him. It was then that Itachi ran away, running to his mother crying that Naruto cursed at him. As Naruto cursed once again, but a bit too loudly, as she bobbed Naruto over the head. Minato then arrived behind the laughing Itachi, who thought that he got away with it, as he ran screaming. So yeah guys, was basically as left off. You guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? The Namikaze family sat in a circle under a tree shade in the training ground. Mikoto brought snack for all of them, as they must be hungry. So Naruto-chan, I'm really proud of you. You have done a splendid job today, said Minato. Yeah, big brother, you were awesome, Itachi said that smile. As Naruto ruffled his younger brother here, despite their little mischief with each other, they really love each other. I still don't get how you learned the exercise, Naruto, Minato said in a curious tone. Every jutsu and technique has a weakness. I just had to find the key to this technique, said Naruto. That's all true, but I still don't get how you did. I did not explain it to you, said Minato. I just showed it to you. As Naruto looked at his father, he thought his father knew what he was doing. Yes, he was wrong, so he was gonna explain. His mother and brother also looked at him curiously. So, he explained, I used my sensory ability. As Minato tilted her head. In which way, she asked. Well, I realized every living thing had life force and chakra, so I feel out the tree, and I found its life force. It was very calm, so I sent chakra down to my feet at the same proportion, so that I could connect to the object without any difficulty. As a result, I never lost my balance, because I was in perfect sync with the tree, and I reached up to the top. It was all about balance and maintaining control of the object, said Naruto. Wow, I wish I was a sensor, Itachi thought. He had no idea what his brother just said, but he was still amazed by the abilities his brother possessed. He really has good observation skills, and the ability to understand things better, Minato thought proudly. He was right, he has a brains to take part in a war and protect the village, said Minato. As Naruto looked at all of them, his little brother was looking at him like he was some sort of god. His mother had a few tears in her eyes, and his father looked towards him proudly. You really are one of a kind, Naruto. Keep practicing like this, and you will soar high, said Minato. As Naruto smiled. This was what he always wanted, his entire family together with him. His father did so much for him today. Thank you, father, he said. That made Minato smile as he moved forward to hug him. As Minato smiled, as Naruto hugged his father. As he hugged his son tightly, words could not describe how proud and happy he felt. He had such a wonderful family, a loving wife, and 2 happy sons. What else could a man want from life? He knew there was still a long way to go to improve the relationship, but this was the first step. They broke the hug after a few moments, as Naruto gave the best smile he could. It was still not fully comfortable, but for his mother and father happiness, he would try. And the smile that they had on their face was well worth it. But then Naruto noticed something. Itachi was sitting by himself. Looking down, he was probably feeling a bit jealous. You probably hate me, huh? Said Naruto, as he looked towards Itachi. Minato was about to say something, but Minato placed a hand on her shoulder. As they were sharing their feelings, it was not wise to interrupt. They would explain Naruto's situation to Itachi later. That's not how I feel, said Itachi quickly. It's alright. You can tell me your feelings, said Naruto gently. Itachi tried to say something, but when he looked into his brother's kind eyes, whatever excuse he was about to say just faded away. Father and mother only care about you, he said, as he dropped his head. Minato felt sad when she heard that. She loved both her sons equally, and they were precious to her. Thankfully, Minato was beside her, telling her to keep calm and to let them talk. Itachi was a small child. He was easy to get upset. I'll let you in on a secret, said Naruto. What? Itachi said, as Naruto whispered in his ear. The only one they really love to talk about is you. Even the villagers look up and talk about you, said Naruto. Really? Itachi said. Yes. And you can always count on me loving you because you and I are flesh and blood. I'm always gonna be there for you, even if it's just an obstacle for you to overcome. As Naruto ran his hand through his shocked younger brother here, both the parents were immensely proud of their elder son. Big brother, Itachi said, tears in his eyes. Even if you do hate me, that's what big brothers are for, said Naruto. Itachi cried as he jumped, as he hugged his big brother tightly. No matter what happened, his big brother was always there for him, guiding him, helping him no matter what. I don't deserve you, big brother, he said. Nah, it's fine, said Naruto. I'm an awesome big brother, aren't I? He joked. Yes, Itachi said, as Itachi held on to his brother until he got a bit sleepy. Minato came forward as she kissed Naruto in the forehead as she picked up Itachi. As she gave Naruto a warm, loving smile. Mom, you do love me, Itachi said. Of course. We love you more than anything, said Minato. A smile came on Itachi's face as he fell asleep, as Minato wiped a long tear from his eye at the scene, as she waved goodbye to them as she brought Itachi inside. Father, as Minato turned to see the stern look in Naruto's eyes. What is it? You do remember the promise, right? Yes, said Minato. As Naruto looked toward the small form of his brother, he looked so innocent in their mother's arms. All the doubts that Naruto had before were now gone. He was sure of one thing now. Itachi is going to be the bridge of peace. My job will be that pillar that will support the bridge, Naruto said deeply. Minato's eyes widened hearing those words. Was this really his son? He looked so mature, and he had a noble dream. It was like he was looking at the main character that Jiraiya wrote in his book. He saw the fire Naruto had in his eyes, and the amount of faith he had within his younger brother. It was just so astonishing. Itachi is the savior of this world, and I'll protect him with my life, said Naruto with determination as he went off to continue his exercise. As Minato was quite shocked as Naruto walked off. Something popped into his head though. It's Naruto. Naruto, are you the child of prophecy? He thought to himself as he watched Naruto train. Time skip. Jiraiya was bored. He was sitting here now for the past few hours, waiting for the elder Toad to wake up. If not her to hear the prophecy, he would have already left this place. Even Shima had left. She couldn't wait any longer to hear some dumb old prophecy, and she went to attend to her cooking. This led between a big argument between her and Fukasaku. She just bumped him over the head as she left. So now he and Fukasaku stood there, waiting for the Toad to wake up, as Jiraiya's eyebrow was twitching violently. After another hour passed, he lost it. Wake the hell up, he screamed! Jiraiya boy, don't speak in such a tone to the elder, said Fukasaku seriously. I'm sorry, sensei, but I've been sitting here for the past 10 hours waiting for him to wake up. I understand, but the only time the elder is even remotely woken is when he's hungry, or if a young female toad is dancing for him. Realization struck Jiraiya. How could he forget that the toad was a pervert? Stupid, as he smacked his forehead. He could have been out of here a long time ago, as Jiraiya jumped right towards the elder's throne as he stood on the giant toad chest. Transform. As Jiraiya transformed into a rather beautiful female toad and whispered in a rather seductive voice, please wake up. The great elder toad slowly opened his eye as he saw the beautiful sexy female toad in front of him. As a jewel came from his mouth, he was sent flying back into the wall because of a nosebleed, as he was knocked unconscious once again, but this time he had a perverted grin. Fukasaku bumped his cane over Jiraiya's head multiple times. Ow, said Jiraiya, as he returned back to normal. You idiot, what did you do? Said Fukasaku angrily. Huh? Said Jiraiya. You knocked him out cold. Now he won't wake up again for another few hours. Jiraiya's eyes widened when he realized what his frustration had done. He screamed to the heavens, no. Time skip. Today was a new day, as Naruto stood in training field. His training has been going well so far. His mother said that he was a prodigy, but he did not make that go to his head. His grandfather told him that the ego of a man could make him fall, so he kept stern. He had mastered tree walking exercise and could stand on the tree with ease. Things were also getting better with his father, as Naruto had promised that he would train as hard as possible to protect everyone within the village. He could now understand why the village was so important. He still remembered his time with his grandfather Kagami and the values that Kagami had bestowed upon him. Flashback. Naruto stood in front of the Naka River. Today he was spending time with his grandfather. He really liked his grandfather. The man was always kind to him, although he was strict than anyone that Naruto ever knew. Kagami was a man of value and wisdom. He was a very calm person and always feared each person. Many people thought that he would teach his grandson the ninja arts and make him a strong shinobi, but Kagami had different thoughts. He wanted his grandson to understand what life was. He believed before he learned anything, how to go on battlefield and use a kun and kill someone, he should learn how valuable life was. And he wanted Naruto to experience the small joys of life that he never had due to fight in the first great shinobi war. Kagami had fought on the battlefield. He had shed blood. He had cried for the ones that fall. He gave everything to protect Konoha. He had lost many friends in war, and he knew the horrors that war left on people. That is why he didn't wish for Naruto to go through something like that. At the young age that he was right now, he was too young for war. He was not old enough to shed blood. Hey Gigi, you were gonna show me how to catch fish, said Naruto politely. Kagami was brought of his thoughts when he saw Naruto, as a small smile came on his face, as he gently ruffled Naruto's hair and gave him the signal to watch him. Fishing is a very unique thing. It requires a lot of patience, but you will enjoy it. Teach me, said Naruto in an excited tone. Kagami chuckled as Naruto reminded him so much of Shisui. The both of them had the same personality. Alright, I'll show you, said Kagami calmly. For the next hour, he taught Naruto everything he knew about fishing, as the boy listened to him with full concentration, something that Kagami really appreciated. As both of them sat there quietly, enjoying the peace that nature provided. But something was bugging Naruto and decided to ask his grandfather about it. "Hey Gigi," he said. "Hmm?" said Kagami. "What is a war?" Naruto asked. Kagami was surprised by Naruto's question. But as he looked at the boy, he could see that the boy was not excited about this. As Kagami decided to tell him, war is a situation where people forget about each other's feelings and decide to fight for their own greed. Everyone claimed that they're warriors for justice or prosperity, but there's no such thing. In every war, people die. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, strong, weak, or anything else. All of us share a common fate, and that is death," said Kagami briefly. "Then why do war happen?" said Naruto sadly. "Humans are very complicated, Naruto. All of us have some darkness within us. Even you have darkness within you." Me? said Naruto. Kagami placed a hand on Naruto's head and gave him a gentle smile. "But more than that, you have a good heart. Everyone has darkness, but they also have a light soul. It's just that people have to find that light and understand each other, and maybe there won't be any more war," said Kagami. "Have you fought in a war?" Naruto asked. "If war was such a painful thing, then it must have been painful for his grandfather." "Yes," said Kagami. "I have fought in 3 great ninja wars. Many people would boast that they fought in 3 wars, but that was not something that you should boast about. You must have been a hero," said Naruto curiously. Kagami chuckled on hearing his grandson's innocent answer. "I'm not a hero. The real heroes are the ones that never made it back home and gave their life for what is precious to them. Just like my sensei, Tobirama Senju." As Kagami remembered his mentor. You were the student of Second Hokage?" said Naruto in shock. As Kagami chuckled. "Yes, I was a student of his. I was a part of his team," Kagami said. "What kind of person was he?" Naruto asked. Tobirama Sensei was a very odd person. He was very strict, but he also cared very much about the village and everyone within it. "He even gave his life to protect the team," said Kagami proudly. "How did he die?" said Naruto. "It was during the first Great Ninja War, our team was surrounded by a lot of great, skilled Kumo ninjas. They were a part of the famous Kinkaku unit." As Naruto thought about it, he heard about this Kinkaku unit from his father. They were Kumo, best ninjas. If his grandfather's team was surrounded and outnumbered, then the only chance of escape they had was... "He acted as a decoy, didn't he?" said Naruto. "How did you guess?" said Kagami in shock as he looked towards Naruto. "There was no other choice. Your team was outnumbered and surrounded. Even if they didn't know your exact location, you had no other choice," said Naruto. "Even if you could pose a surprise attack on the enemies, after a while they will start to gain the upper hand because of their numbers. This led to only one action. One person had to be a decoy to buy some time for the other members to escape. This had to be the strongest member because the Kinkaku unit was the strongest that Kumo had. And since Tekkonokage was the strongest," said Naruto, "he was the only logical choice." He thought the same thing I did back then," said Kagami to himself. "Naruto, you will make an excellent squad leader," said Kagami. "But I don't want to kill anyone," said Naruto. "I have a family. I love Mom, Itachi, Father, you, Shisu. But other people out there, they also have a family. And if I were to take them away from their family would be sad. Just as I would if anything happened," said Naruto. "I understand. I know exactly what you're feeling right now. Shinobis are protectors, not killers," said Kagami. "Gigi, what is a village? And what are shinobis?" Naruto asked. As Kagami looked at his grandson curiously, before he spoke, "A village is a place where people come together, where they put aside their past differences and end the chaos. It is a place where the young and old come together and spend their life in peace." "And shinobis, what are they?" Naruto asked. "Shinobis are the people that endure and protect those who are precious to them. Within every shinobi you have the will of fire." "Will of fire?" Naruto asked. "It's the unbreakable bond that all shinobi has. It gives us the power and strength to protect our village with everything that we have." "Do I have the will of fire as well?" said Naruto. As Kagami chuckled and ruffled the boy's hair. "Of course, my boy. The will of fire burns brightly in you." As that made Naruto smile happily. "Can you fulfill one last wish of mine?" Kagami asked. "Anything for you," said Naruto. "Don't be hasty, you are still young. You have a long life in front of you, and I want you to live that life to the fullest. Protect those who love the village and those who believe in you, and pass the will of fire down to the next generation. This is your duty," said Kagami seriously. As Naruto gave the man a very determined gaze. "I promise, Gigi," said Naruto. "As long as I live, I won't let anything happen to the village or my family. I will protect them all my life." As Kagami saw the determination burning within the boy's eyes. "You are the future of this village. I will leave it up to you, said Kakama with a smile, as he could already see it now. In the flashback, a small smile came on his face as he remembered what his grandfather taught him. I will never go back on my word, said Naruto. What are you thinking, Naruto-chan? Said Mikoto. As Naruto looked up as he saw his mother looking down at him, she was in her medic uniform. She just came from the hospital. She had Itachi in her arms, who was also looking down at Naruto curiously. It's nothing, Mom, said Naruto as he scratched the back of his head a small chuckle. Naruto, said Mikoto with a giggle. Stupid big brother, said Itachi with a laugh. What was that, shrimp? Said Naruto as he looked towards Itachi, who gave Naruto the best poker face, as Naruto was sure that he heard him say something, but he would let it slide. As Mikoto grabbed Itachi by the ear. You got a rather loud mouth, she said. Sorry, he said, as she sighed. What am I going to do with you, she said, as she smiled. As Naruto watched both of them. So this is what Jiji meant, said Naruto. I'll become a strong shinobi to protect them, my precious people. So Naruto-chan, I heard from Minato that you master the tree walking exercise. Yeah, I'm good at it now, said Naruto. Well, would you like me to teach you the next exercise? As Naruto nodded happily, as she handed Itachi to Naruto, so she could show him the next exercise. As she told him to follow, as they made their way towards a small lake. What are we doing here, Mom? Today I'll be teaching the water walking exercise. Water walking? Said Naruto. She giggled as she saw the both of them look shocked. Well, yes, and comparing this to tree walking, this is a lot harder, Naruto-kun. It won't be easy to master. Bring it on, said Naruto. Alright, this training method is to gain better chakra control. To do this, the user has to be emitting a stream of chakra from the bottom of their feet to repel themselves as they walk across the water. Can you show me how to do it, Mom? Said Naruto. And she nodded a smile, of course, as she placed a foot on the lake. As Naruto watched, both Itachi and Naruto watched in amazement as their mother walked on the water. Big brother, she's amazing, said Naruto. Well, if you two are done praising me, I would like to explain something to you, she said. As Naruto nodded, with tree walking you learn how to gather chakra at specific points in your feet. But water walking is very different, said Mikoto. How so? Naruto asked. Well, trees are stationary, and the energy that you mentioned trees have is also constant. Water is not like that, it's constantly moving, and the flow is irregular, said Mikoto. So how can I do it then, said Naruto. First of all, focus chakra on your feet, and try to walk in the water, she said, with a devious smirk. She knew what was going to happen, but she wanted to see if he could figure the exercise by himself. Plus, his face was going to be hilarious. Naruto gave a nod as Mikoto came back as she took Itachi in her arms. As Naruto placed his right leg on the water, then his left leg. The next moment he lost his balance as he fell into the cold water, as he could hear his mother and brother laughing. As Naruto opened his eyes and looked around, all he could see was blue color around him. What should I do, he thought, as he started to drown. As he tried to move his hands, but the water was far too cold as he felt the energy leaving his body. His eyes started to close, he heard his mother's voice to come up, but he could not. Am I gonna die? It was like it was meant for him. No, he couldn't die, at least not yet. He had so many things to do. He made a promise to his grandfather. As he remembered something, you must look at yourself rationally and know who you are. Otherwise, you will put your comrade life in danger. As he remembered those words his grandfather told him, what was he? What was his power? He had to protect everyone. How could he become successful and make it back alive? Water is not like that, it's constantly moving, and the flow of energy is irregular. Realization struck him as he understood the meaning behind his mother's words, as he spread his sensory abilities around, and he felt the energy within the water. He could feel it in every single molecule, how different it was. He could feel the nature power around him. The water was calm, but the energy it had was humongous, as he felt the own power of his own chakra and the stability he had within it. As he felt this strange sensation within his gut, he didn't know what this feeling was, but it was like he had a own life force within his gut. He could not reduce the amount of energy that the water had, but maybe if he could push his chakra even more, he could somehow control it. As he smiled when he realized something. Meanwhile, with Mikoto, as Itachi had tears in his eyes as Mikoto had put him down, as she was about to jump in the water, she saw Naruto was not coming up as Itachi was crying for his big brother to come out of the water. But before she could, she felt a blast of chakra. A violent wave started forming in the lake. A few even crashed near them. She quickly jumped and grabbed Itachi and jumped on a nearby tree. As she put him on a nearby branch, he was crying loudly for his big brother. But Mikato could not comfort him right now. At first, she thought Naruto was joking, but he was actually in trouble, as she jumped towards the lake without hesitation. But she was shocked when she saw what was in the center of the lake. There stood Naruto on top of a 20-foot tidal wave. His face was calm, his eyes were closed, his wet hair was falling down on his face. His clothes were drenched, but what shocked Mikato was, he was standing on a 20-foot tidal wave. That was not stable, but he was standing there. In her stupor, she forgot the water that was coming towards her to hit her. As she was too late, as it came down towards her, as she closed her eyes, as she couldn't substitute in time. But, to her surprise, she did not feel any pain. As all the water had stopped. It was like they had frozen. As she looked towards Naruto, who had his hands spread out, as he was controlling all of the waves. Impossible, she thought in amazement, as Naruto Namikaze was controlling the water. Time skip. Jiraiya felt like banging the elder over his head. Hours had passed and yet nothing. But finally, where am I? Said the great elder. Mount Miyaboku, said Fukazaku tiredly. It was always like this, he'd wake up, and I had no idea where he was. You summoned me, Jiraiya asked eagerly. His patience was over, as the toad looked towards Jiraiya before yawning. And who are you? He said in confusion. This is Jiraiya. Jiraiya, Fukazaku said. Oh, you have come. You made me wait a long time, said the elder toad with a chuckle. I'm gonna kill him, Jiraiya said in frustration to himself. The prophecy that you said you had to tell, said Fukazaku. As he realized that Jiraiya's anger was about to burst, the elder looked towards Fukazaku. Oh yes. Who are you? He asked. No, I'm going to kill him, Fukazaku thought. The elder could sense their patience growing thin. He decided it was enough joking around for now. I have called you here because I had a dream that showed me about the future and the fate of the Shinobi world. What did you see? Asked Jiraiya. I am sure the child of prophecy has been born in this world, the toad said. But Minato is a child of prophecy, said Jiraiya confused. No, you're a student and you will be the one to be guiding this revolutionary, the elder toad said. Did you see who it was? Jiraiya asked curiously. A boy who has exceptional visual power and physical power as well. He will be a master of every ninjutsu and one of the strongest shinobi in the world. He has a large portion of the Sage of Six Path power, the elder said, shocking Fukazaku and Jiraiya. What kind of power? Asked Fukazaku. The power which only one man had in the past, the toad said. I can't believe it, Fukazaku said in shock. But how can he have such a power? Where can I find him? Jiraiya asked curiously. That is your destiny. I don't know this boy's identity, but I can feel his presence in the shinobi world, said the toad. I'll find him no matter what. Jiraiya, there's something else you should know, the elder toad said. As Jiraiya turned towards the toad, who was rather serious. That boy, he has a sea of darkness within him, waiting to be released on the shinobi world. There will come a time when the boy will be asked to make a choice. What kind of choice? Asked Jiraiya. One that will determine the fate of every last shinobi, this entire world, the toad said. Fukazaku saw how serious the elder toad was. There was only one time that he has been this serious, and a great change happened after that. Jiraiya, if that boy loses himself into the darkness, the entire world would be doomed. There is no force in nature that can stop him. Is he that powerful? Jiraiya asked in shock. He will either become our greatest savior or worst nightmare. One who will bring peace or one who will bathe this world into darkness. But how could he turn to darkness? Asked Jiraiya. There will be a big event that happens in his life, one that will change him forever. For better or for worse, I don't know, the elder said tiredly, as he started to feel sleepy once again. I'll find him, said Jiraiya, and I will not let him fall into darkness. Time skip. The Konoha Council was in the war room. Everyone was looking very tense. Every clan head along with every commander. In the center of the room sat Minato along with Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and the Anbu commander, and Shikaku Nara. The rest of the clan heads sat in their respective places. Mikato was sitting beside Kagami, as she was the head of the medical corps. But her eyes were on one person in the room, and that was none other than her eldest son. Naruto Namikaze was standing beside his uncle Shisui in the room. Now people would wonder why a 7-year-old boy was in the room. More importantly, why was he at the meeting? As Naruto knew why though, his father had told him the reason why he had to be there. Flashback. As Naruto stood in his father's study room, there was a lot of books. His father loved to read a lot of books with a lot of different things. There were also a few Jutsu scrolls, but Naruto was not allowed to see them without his father giving him permission. As Naruto saw his father worried eyes, "Naruto, I've called you here for a specific reason," said Minato, as he gestured for Naruto to sit in front of him. As Naruto moved forward and sat in front of the sofa, "What is it?" Minato bit his lip nervously. How was he supposed to tell his son? As Naruto was now 7-year-old, how was he supposed to tell his 7-year-old son, who was supposed to be enjoying life in his childhood? Well, fate had other plans. "Naruto, the war is now imminent. The enemy. Start to mobilize your forces," said Minato. Naruto was sad after hearing this. He didn't want a world war. It would lead to so much innocent life being lost, something that he hated. "I see," said Naruto sadly. "I know how you feel, believe me. If it was in my hands, I would have stopped this war," said Minato. "I know, father," said Naruto. "I understand. What do you need from me?" Naruto asked. Despite being a pacifist, he had to protect his home, no matter what. There's a tradition that has been followed by our village since the second Hokage rule. What is this tradition? During wartime, every clan of Konoha has to send their heir and its shinobis to fight. It's a custom that was followed since the first Great Shinobi War, said Minato. The whole situation became clear to Naruto. "And since I'm the elder son of the fourth Hokage and the heir to the Namikaze clan, I have to go to the front line," said Naruto. "Yes, it is to show the faith and loyalty of the clan to the village. It was a rule made by the second," said Minato. "I'll go," said Naruto. "But promise me one thing," he said. As Naruto couldn't stop the tears that were building in his eyes. He was just 7 years old after all. He was scared. The thought of going to a world war scared him. The thought of losing his mother, father, and little brother, it made him even more depressed. He wouldn't lie to himself. He was not invincible, nor was he immortal, or a super strong fighter. He knew anything could happen in a war, and he just didn't want to die yet. Minato sensed his pain as he came forward and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Please don't let anything happen to Mom or Itachi. And don't send Itachi in this war even if I die." "You're not gonna die," said Minato. "You will come back alive," he said firmly. "I know I will," said Naruto, "but anything can happen. Please, grant my request," he said. "I will. I'll take care of your mom and your brother," he said. "Promise me," said Naruto. As Minato looked Naruto dead in the eyes, as he saw a look in the boy's eyes, "I promise." "I love you," he said, "and I'm proud of you," as he gave his son an encouraging smile. As Naruto embraced his father tightly, the past time they have spent with each other had brought the both of them close. Minato loved his son very much. Despite everything, he was his blood, and he knew that he was sending his son into the gates of hell. As Naruto thought about everything he and his father had shared, and he felt a feeling in his heart. Was it love? Was it respect? As he hugged his fathers, neither of them noticed the sad pair of shining eyes looking at them. As Mikoto watched as tears fell from her eyes. In the flashback, a lone tear slipped from Mikoto's eyes, but she wiped it away before anyone could see. But her father noticed her pain as he placed a hand on her shoulder. "It will be alright, Kagami," said, as she slowly nodded. As Minato started to speak, "All of you have been summoned here for a reason, which most of you are aware of," said Minato. As Naruto stood in the corner observing his father, "The fourth great ninja war has begun." Murmurs started to build up. As Minato silenced all of them by flaring his chakra, Kumo, the stone, and Kiri seemed to have formed an alliance and have declared war on us, said Minato calmly. "How dare they? That is outrageous. We should make them pay." Numerous shouts came from the room. As Naruto felt uneasy, as a lot of killing intent was being thrown around. His parents had trained him how to handle himself with killing intent, but he was still nervous. "Silence," said Minato, as he raised his own ki. All of them went quiet, but Shikaku wanted to ask a few questions. "Hokage-sama, permission to speak," he said, as Minato gave the man a nod. As everyone looked towards Nara, he was the most brilliant strategist, and everyone respected him. "What is our situation on our alliance with the Sand?" Minato gave a tired sigh. He knew this was coming, and unfortunately, this was where things got worse. They have decided to stay neutral in this war. The Sand suffered the most in the previous wars, and the Sand has decided to stay neutral. The Kazekage is not willing to enter a war so soon, but he has promised that Sand is not against Konoha, nor will they join our side in this war, or will they join the enemy. Another round of angry shout as everyone was pissed on hearing the Sand decision not to join them in this war. The elders, Danzo and Hiruzen, they remained calm, including Kagami, as they knew there was no alliances during war. "We should declare war on them as well," said Kasumi Inazaka, the head of the Inazaka clan. That would make it worse for us, Tasumi-san. We are already at war with 3 hidden villages, adding another village as our enemy. It's not our best choice. The San has denied us any military support, but they have secretly agreed to provide us with a small weapon of supplies. Minato said. That is just your effort, so we will not declare war on them, said Hayashi. That may be, but any help is appreciated, Hayashi-san. I also have some good news as well, said Minato. The rebel forces that are opposed in the Mizukage and Kirin have agreed to help us, Minato said. A small smile came on a few of the members' faces, but the older ones knew there was a catch there. And what do they want in return, Danzo asked. He hated the entire situation. Konoha was in danger, and this was all because of their weak Hokage. If only he was Hokage, those villages would have long ago bowed down to Konoha. They want our support against the Mizukage after the end of this war, said Minato. Hiruzen spoke before anyone else could say anything. This is a rather difficult situation. We don't know what our situation will be after this war. But we have no choice. The rebel forces has permitted us with 3,000 of their ninjas, and many of them are from bloodline clans, Hiruzen said. That did it. As Hiruzen saw the greedy face of his teammates, almost everyone now was agreeing with the proposal. As shinobis, with the Keki Genkai was very hopeful. This is a logical choice. Who is the leader of the rebel forces? Asked Inuichi Yamanaka. Meiterumi Shiza formidable. Kunoichi was been leading the rebel forces for a few months now. As far as we know, her exploits and tactics has far weakened the Mizukage's rule, said Minato honestly. We agree with the Hokage-sama. We shall accept the offer from the rebel forces, said Danzo. As Minato narrowed his eyes at the man, he knew that Danzo was already thinking about ways to get the bodies of the Keki Genkai members of Kirin. But even a wicked, corrupted man like Danzo was needed right now in times of war. Despite his agenda, he too wanted to protect Konoha, so Minato had to agree to put him in the war council. Now, Jiraiya Sensei has gathered a lot of information about the enemy. He too has gathered from his spies. As everyone looked towards Jiraiya, the man was the best spy master in the entire shinobi world. But Jiraiya's eyes were fixated on Naruto, as he was just looking at the boy. Hiruzen nudged Jiraiya in the side, as he sighed on Jiraiya's antics. Even though Jiraiya acted like an idiot sometimes, he was a powerful ninja, and out of his 3 students, he was only proud of Jiraiya. His prized student Orochimaru turned traitor, and he left the village. He had such high hopes for the man, but he had failed him. Next was his student Uchiha and Senju. She was the best medic in the world, but after her brother and her fiance's death, she had left the village. She also failed Hiruzen. Hiruzen was stopped from getting depressed further, as Jiraiya started to speak. Since the past year, I've been keeping an eye on Kumo, the Stone, and Kirin. The Tishikage and the Raikage was the one that started this plot, and the Mizukage just joined in. It seems the Hidden Stone and Kumo has not let go of their past shameful defeat in the previous war, said Takana, Kurama tiredly. Yes, they want to destroy Konoha and take our land. They call their combined alliance the Heavenly Alliance, said Jiraiya in a sarcastic tone, as many of the members smirked at hearing the ridiculous name. Even Naruto cracked a small smile, as that made Mikoto happy to see her son smile. Do we have any information regarding their strength? Shibe Aburame asked. Their combined army has a total of 45,000 battle-ready shinobi, Jiraiya said, shocking everyone in the room. Even though Konoha had a large military force, it was not enough. How many battle-ready shinobi do we have? Koharu asked curiously. If we combine the Kira force, we have a battle-ready force of 20,000, said Minato. The fear increased in their hearts. Even though they had a lot of shinobis powerful on their side, they were not even half as the other. But our army is very small. When it comes towards the Heavenly Alliance, Choza said wordly. He had even stopped eating his chips, and that was a rare thing that he did. That is indeed true, but they don't have our will of fire, Hiruzen said. Hiruzen, war cannot be fight by moral alone. We need people, strong people to fight and protect Konoha. Your foolish ideals will not help anymore, Danzo said. Hiruzen gave a tired sigh. Even though Danzo's words were like venom, they had a truth in them. Everyone's spirit broke. Even Minato did not know what to say, as he tried to find some words to bring back their confidence. Don't give up. Everyone's eyes snapped up as he looked for the person that said those words, as all of their eyes turned towards a young boy. The young blonde with the slick hair. Naruto? Minato thought, as Mikoto looked towards her son. Minato didn't want her to say anything in this crucial moment, but Jiraiya and Hiruzen stopped him. Sometimes young kids can say something that we cannot. Naruto-san, you have no authority to say anything, Hayashi said, in a rather ignorant tone. How could some brat speak in this important meeting? I thought that Konoha was known for being just and allow everyone to speak. And as far as authority is concerned, Hayashi-san, I'm the elder son of the Hokage and the heir to the Namikaze clan. That does give me right to speak, said Naruto as he looked at Hayashi with a firm gaze. Hayashi gritted his teeth, but then he noticed Minato's cool eyes on him. He didn't say anything further. But today, I stand before you as a citizen of this village. Honorable council members, I request you grant me permission to speak a few words, said Naruto. Everyone was surprised at Naruto, who shut Hayashi's mouth, well, formally. Go ahead, pup, said Tatsumi. The other clan leaders also nodded, as Naruto gave a thankful bow. Unlike all of you, I'm not wise enough to know about war, nor do I know how to fight such a large enemy. All the members looked towards him and listened intently. It was like he had this thing about him that just captured your view and make you want to look at him and listen. But what I do know is that this village is a dream of our ancestors. They sacrificed everything for the dream of this village, right from the first to the second, to the White Fang, Sakumo, Hatake, and each and every shinobi who bled and fought for this village. They want one thing, said Naruto. Kakashi's eyes widened when he heard Naruto calling his father a hero. He didn't think Naruto considered his father such a great man. That made him happy and he was grateful to the little boy. He could see his fallen comrade Obito in his sensei's son. Is this really my son? Mikoto thought in amazement, as she couldn't tell how proud she was of her boy right now. And what is that, Homura asked? They wanted what I'm asking from you right now. They wanted us to love this village and believe in each other no matter what the odds may tell. They never wanted us to give up. They wanted us to protect this village and build a future generation by all costs. This was a dream of every last hero that died for this village. All the names on the memorial stone, they never lost faith in us because they sacrificed everything their future to make sure that we have one, said Naruto. But if we let it end here, it will destroy everything that they fought, bled, and died for, said Naruto. A few of the members' eyes widened in surprise as they remember the people, their parents, who fought and died for this village. We are no different from each other. We're facing the same danger, and we all share the same feelings. The enemy is far greater in numbers than us, but if we just fight for our own feelings, we will never win, said Naruto. A few of the members dropped their head in shame as they realized their mistake. True strength is not within numbers. I want to ask you all one question. If you don't have an answer for this question, I would not say anything further, said Naruto. What is that? Asked Inoichi. He was really impressed with the boy. Do you have someone precious to you, said Naruto. The person that you are gladly to give your life for. Every member except for Danzo and his teammates nodded. My Jiji and mother taught me if someone is precious to us, then only then can the true strength of the shinobi emerge. And I love this village and every person with my heart, and I'm ready to sacrifice everything for it. Are you ready to do the same, or will you give up, said Naruto. Everyone thought about their family, their children. What would happen if they gave up? Would they sacrifice their future just because the enemy had a larger army? As they were further more inspired with Naruto, body got covered in blue flames. His black eyes were shining as a chakra flickered around him like flames. Such a powerful chakra, Hiruzen and Jiraiya thought in shock. His chakra is visible, the Inoshiko thought. This boy. He's really something, Tatsumi said. Interesting, said Danzo. This power, it's incredible, said Shisui and Kakashi. Hayashi was silent, but he was angry. That's my son, said Minato. You will grow up to be a fine, probably the finest shinobi, thought Kagami. You did what I could not do, Naruto. You place hope back in your people. You will become a far greater Hokage than me. No father could ask for a better son than you. Even if I'm the last one standing, I'll defend this village and my family to the end. I will never give up, said Naruto, as his chakra then burst outwards, as the wooden floor cracked, as the wind washed over them. As everyone turned and looked at each other, fire was burning in their eyes. We can win. Let's show them. Konoha is the strongest. As long as we have Naruto-sama, we can win this. Naruto was shocked when they started to cheer for him. The entire room erupted in long claps and cheers. People were cheering for him as Mikoto was crying tears of joy as she looked towards her eldest son as she grabbed him into a warm embrace. I did the right thing, said Naruto. Of course, silly. You're amazing, she said. As Jiraiya just stared at Naruto. Way to go, blonde, said Tatsumi. Did you see that, Minato, said Hiruzen. As Minato smiled, yes, we probably found a good candidate for next Hokage. As Hiruzen agreed with him. Perhaps you are the child of prophecy, said Jiraiya as he watched boy. Jiraiya just looked at Naruto, as he was impressed the way Naruto motivated everyone. The desire to win had returned back to the people. He saw Naruto hugging his mother, but something seemed off as Jiraiya looked at the boy. He had fought in wars already. His best friend succumbed to evil. And if there was one thing that Jiraiya remembered Orochimaru, was his friend devious smile. The smile that sent shivers down people's spine. The smile that was meant to deceive people. And right now, that same smile was on Naruto's face. Naruto seemed happy his face was showing feelings of joy. But that look in his dark, black eyes, it was something scary. As time passed and the boy grows, his desire, his darkness will increase. His desire to protect the ones he cares about is far greater than anything I've ever seen. He has a good soul, but I sense something dark within him. The more his visual powers increase, the darker and dangerous he will become. A shiver went down Jiraiya's spine. What if Naruto was truly the child of prophecy? That thought made Jiraiya relief and also very worried. He was a good soul, but he had mystery, a lot of it. Jiraiya watched his smile vanish, and it was replaced by his normal smile. But why? Why that to begin with, Jiraiya thought to himself. Time skip. Grass Village. In a small room sat 5 figures. If you would drop a pin in the room you would hear it because the place was rather silent. In one room sat the third Raikage, as his presence could be felt in the entire room, but he was not the only powerful person there. Beside him was Onki, as the Tishikage was serious and for the first time he was not complaining about his back pain. Konan sat opposite of both of the Kages. Beside her was the Mizukage. She could feel Yagura as well as the standby power. He was a strong Kage and also a strong Jinchuriki as well. On her opposite side sat the most evilest person that she has ever met in her life, and that was none other than the Snake Son himself, Orochimaru, who was sitting rather calmly. So, Orochimaru, we have prepared our armies. It is almost time to get ready for you to play your card, Onki said, as Orochimaru smirked, a rather devious, wicked, cruel smirk. But guys, be in episode right here. If you want to see next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the that's coming your way over on Anime King and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, you aren't mistaken guys, you heard that perfectly clear. I have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what I find every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace out.